This video will present you the discussion of the solar-powered home and a video about the solar installation process at the residence in San Isidro, Saragossa, Nueva Ecija will follow. Solar-powered home, there are three configurations: grid-tied, off-grid, and hybrid. In grid-tied, the solar-powered system is connected to the home and traditional electricity, while off-grid naman ay completely disconnected, and hybrid is the combination of both configuration. Let's focus with grid-tied solar-powered home. So solar-powered home, grid-tied. In a grid-tied type, the solar power system is being connected in parallel to the electric supply that goes inside the house and only functions during the day. Any excess energy that is being produced is then fed into the grid. So dito sa grid-tied, dahil walang battery backup, so hindi siya nagpo-produce ng power sa gabi. At during brownout, kapag walang kuryente, ay nag-shutdown din yung solar power system. Hence, it does not produce electricity. Its main purpose is to save electricity. In fact, when the solar array settings matches the electric consumption, zero bill can be attained. So these are the basic parts of a solar powered system. First, of course, the solar panels, the grid tie inverter, with or without limiter or square wave or pure sine wave, DC circuit breaker, DC surge protection device or SPD, AC circuit breaker, AC surge protection device or AC-SPD, time delay switch or TDS, DC and AC electrical wires, MC4 connectors, solar reel, and the clamps, which is divided into or categorized into end clamp and mid clamp. So now let's start with the solar panel, its part and function. So the solar panel is the heart of the solar powered home. A typical solar cell will only produce around half a volt, so by connecting them together in series inside the panel, a more useful voltage is achieved. Most small solar panels rated 150 watts or below are rated as 12 volts, while larger solar panels are 24 volts. A 12-volt solar panel produces around 14 to 18 volts when put under load. This allows a single solar panel to charge up a 12-volt battery. Incidentally, if you connect a voltmeter up to a solar panel when it is not under load, you may well see voltage readings of up to 26 volts. So this is normal since it is an open circuit on a solar panel. So solar panels can be connected together to create a solar array. The output of a solar array is computed much like a battery. Series connections increases the voltage while current remains the same. Parallel connections increases the current while voltage remains the same. So when you connect multiple panels together, the power of the overall system increases regardless of whether they are connected in series or parallel. So for example, yung makikita nyo sa next slide, so the rated voltage is 12 volts and the current is 10 amperes. So let us start with the series connection. Okay, so napin natin yung total voltage, current, and power. So the total voltage ay pagpa-plus-plusan since it is in series connection. So 12 times 3 is equal to 36 volts, while the total current will remain the same, and the total power will be calculated by using the formula P is equal to IV. So 36 times 10 amperes, that will be 360 watts. So ngayon, dako naman tayo sa parallel connection. So, sa parallel connection, yung positive terminal connected sa positive and yung negative connected sa negative. So what will be the total voltage, total current, and total power? So the total voltage will remain the same, which is 12 volts, since kapag parallel, magkakamukha yung voltage. In series connection naman, pagka-plus-plusan yung current each. So 10 multiplied by 3, it will be 30 amperes. So for the total power, the same formula will be used, which is the P is equal to IV. So 12 multiplied by 30 amperes, the answer will be 360 watts. So regardless of the connection, yung total power, it will increase. Moreover, the connection of panels ay hindi limited sa series or parallel connection. So, it can be connected in a series parallel connection. So, for the same given data, 10 amperes and 12 volts. So, makikita nyo sa screen yung total voltage, total current, and total power. So, regardless of the connection, the total power will always increase.
So, dito na nga tayo sa solar panel. So, meron tayong dalawang types ng solar panel. So, ito nga yung polycrystalline and monocrystalline. Yung nasa left side, ang polycrystalline. At yung nasa right side naman, yung monocrystalline. So, himayin natin kung ano nga ba ang pagkakaiba ng polycrystalline at monocrystalline. So, pagdating sa silicon fragment, so yung monocrystalline is one pure silicon crystal. And then yung polycrystalline naman ay many silicon fragment melded together. So pagdating naman sa cost, mas mahal yung monocrystalline kaysa sa polycrystalline since one pure silicon crystal nga lang siya. So sa appearance naman, yung monocrystalline is black samantalang sa polycrystalline is blue. So sa efficiency naman, mas efficient yung monocrystalline kaysa sa polycrystalline. When it comes to lifespan naman, mas matagal yung monocrystalline kasi kaya niyang tumagal ng 25 to 40 years. Samantalang sa polycrystalline naman, 20 to 35 years lang yung kaya niyang itagal. So, sa temperature coefficient naman, sa monocrystalline, lower temperature coefficient, making them more efficient in heat. So, sa polycrystalline naman, higher temperature coefficient, making them less efficient in heat. So, dito naman tayo sa inverter. So, these are the different type of grid-tied inverter. So, itong tatlong inverter na ito, medyo may kamahalan. So, samantalang ito ay di hamak na mas mura sa naunang slide. So, pag medyo nagtitipid ka, dito ka na sa mas mura. So, kung gusto mo naman ng mas maporma, dun ka na sa naunang slide. So, kung wala naman sa yung issue yung forma, so, dito ka na sa medyo makakatipid. So, alam naman natin yung purpose ng inverter sa ating solar power system. Yun yung pag-convert ng DC into AC. So, let's read this paragraph. So, inverter convert the DC output of the solar panel into AC, which is the standard used by all commercial household appliances. Hence, the inverter output matches the voltage within the house that is coming from the grid. So, traditionally, there is usually one central inverter in a solar system. So, a more recent invention has been the microinverter. So, microinverters are connected to individual solar panels so that each individual panel provide a high voltage alternating current. So, this setup are typically used only with grid-tied system and are not suitable for system with battery backup. So, for grid-tied system, thought costly, they do offer some significant benefits over the more traditional central inverter. So, a grid-tied inverter unique characteristic over the other types is it automatically shut down the system when there is power interruption. So, dito muna tayo sa pure sine wave inverters. So, this type output voltage in the form of sine waves. So, utilities also provide sine wave output. So, because of this, pure sine wave inverter are usually needed if you're going to be tied to the grid. So, typically, you need pure sine wave inverter for sensitive equipment like TVs, CFL light bulbs, and appliances with AC motors like microwave and refrigerator. So, pure sine wave inverters are capable of producing cleaner, smoother, quieter, and more reliable electricity to operate appliances and electronics without interference. So, Renogy sells a range of pure sine wave inverter of varying capacities to fit your solar installation and your energy needs. So let's proceed in the modified sine wave inverter. So in pure sine wave inverter, the AC power produced by the inverter is very closely matches an actual sine wave. So in modified sine wave inverters, the polarity abruptly switches from positive to negative. When looking at the wave, it has a stair-step square pattern where the polarity is lifted back and forth. So the coffee wave can negatively affect more delicate sensitive equipment. If you have medical equipment, you need to power much as CPAP machine, you won't be able to use a modified sine wave inverter. Additionally, in any cases, you hear a hum which devices attached to a modified sine wave inverter. The only advantage of this type over the pure sine wave is that this much cheaper. So, ito yung waveform ng modified and pure sine wave inverter kapag sinilip natin siya sa oscilloscope. So, dito na nga tayo sa DC circuit breaker. So, alam naman natin na yung circuit breaker is nag-act siya as an overcurrent protective device. So, parang ganito siya. So, for example, may appliances tayo na kaya lang ay 20 ampere. May pumasok na 50 ampere. So, bago makagawa ng damage yung 50 ampere sa appliances natin, si circuit breaker ay magtitrip na siya agad para yung 50 ampere na current hindi makagawa ng damage sa appliances natin. So, the DC circuit breaker are placed between the solar panels and the inverter, or in some cases, built into the inverter. So, just like a typical circuit breaker, it acts as an overcurrent protective device. Short circuit on the part of solar array may produce a high value of current, which might damage the inverter or the system as whole. So before it happens, the DC circuit breaker acts as an automatic switch, disconnecting the inverter from the solar array. So dito na nga tayo sa AC circuit breaker. So dito sa AC circuit breaker, same lang naman sila ng application ng DC circuit breaker. So ano nga ba ang pagkakaiba ng MCB sa RCBO? So let's go on the next slide. So the AC circuit breaker are placed after the inverter. So just like a typical circuit breaker, it acts as an overcurrent protective device due to short circuit and overloading. So RCBO stands for residual current operated circuit breaker with overcurrent protection. So in the RCBO type, it has added protection since it can sense earth leakage current where the typical breaker cannot. It has the capability to trip when somebody touches a live wire, plus protecting the people around it. So, it may also serve as an actual switch if there is a need to turn the solar power system off.
So now let's move on to the net metering. So first question, what is net metering? Net metering allows customers of distribution utilities to install an on-site renewable energy facility not exceeding 100 kilowatts in capacity. So they can generate electricity for their own use, So any electricity generated that is not consumed by the customer is automatically exported to the DU's distribution system. The DU then gives a peso credit for the excess electricity received, equivalent to the DU's blended generation cost. So excluding other generation adjustments and deducts the credits earned to the customer's electricity bill. So yung mga excess na mga electricity na nage-generate or napoproduce ng renewable energy is na dumadiretso sa distribution utilities. So bibilihin nila yung power na yon, then babayaran mismo sa consumer. So yung mismong customer na nag-generate o na nakapag-produce ng mga excess electricity is pwedeng ibenta mismo sa distribution utility. For the second question, is net metering already available in the Philippines? So on May 2013-27, the Energy Regulatory Commissions adopted ERC Resolution 09 Series of 2013 approving the rules enabling the net metering program for renewable energy. This resolution was published on July 10, 2013 in newspapers of general circulation in the country and took effect 15 days thereafter. Thus, the net metering rules took effect in the Philippines on July 24, 2013. The net metering program is available only to on-grid distribution systems or DUs connected to the transmission grid. So, ang net metering program sa Pilipinas ay pinagtibay ng ERC Resolution number 9 Series of 2013 noong June 24, 2013 para lamang ito sa mga on-grid distribution systems. So, for the third questions, what benefit will I get if I go into net metering? So, by generating electricity for own use, you reduce the amount of electricity you buy from your local DU. The rate of savings realized on electricity generated for own use is equivalent to the DU's retail rate consisting of charges for generation, transmission, system loss, distribution subsidies, taxes, and other charges. You also earn peso credit on any excess electricity exported to the DU equivalent to the DU's blended generation cost, excluding other generations adjustment. So the peso credit earned is then used to reduce your electricity bills. So kapag may mga excess ka, siyempre pwede mo ibenta ito sa mismong distribution utilities. So yung mga benefits is kikita ka sa mismong or mga nakukuha mong energy. So pwede mo siyang mapagkakitaan or mapababa ang yung consumption sa mga bills dahil tumutulong ito para gamitin mo yung na-produce na energy sa renewable energy compare sa mga sinusupply ng distribution utilities. So nagpo-focus na makakatulong or pwedeng mapagkakitaan or mapagbaba ang iyong bills ng kuryente. For the fourth question, how will my DU monitor the excess energy that my grid-tied setup is exporting towards the grid? The DU may option to install two unidirectional meters, one to meter energy you buy from your local DU, and the other to meter the energy you exported to the DU. The DU may its option install a single bidirectional meter that can meter both import and export energy if it finds to be a more economical. The DU may also install a third meter in proximity to your RE facility to meter its total renewable energy generation. The total RE generation shall earn for the host DE RE certificates which the DU can use to comply with its renewable proportion standards obligations. So mayroong ilang paraan kung paano masusukat ang iyong production at consumption energy. So ang unang option ay ang paggamit ng dalawang unidirectional meters. So susukatin ng isang meter ang kuryente ng inyong kinukuha na mula sa grid and ang kuryente yung binibili ninyo sa kumpanya ng kuryente. So susukatin naman ng pangalawang meter ang kuryente inyong binibigay sa mismong grid. So ang sobrang kuryente na ginagawa ng inyong renewable energy system is malinaw na naiiwalay na setup na ito ang inyong consumption at production ng enerhiya. or ng inyong energy. So mas payak na paraan or ang paggamit ng isang bidirectional meter. So sabay-sabay na sinusukat ng meter na ito ang inyong pag-import at pag-export ng energy. So mas simple at madalas na mas matipid ito kumpara sa mga paggamit ng dalawang hiwalay na meters. So sa panghuli, mas maaaring mag-install ng karagdagang meters malapit sa inyong renewable energy system. So susukatin ng meter na ito ang inyong kabuuang produksyon ng inyong renewable energy. So, mahalaga ang datos na ito para makagawa ng renewable energy certificates. So ang mga RECs na ito ay tumutulong sa kumpanya ng kuryente na matugunan ang kanilang mga target sa renewable energy. So for the last or for the fifth questions, who are qualified to participate in the net metering program? The DO customers who are in good credit standing in the payment of their electric bills to their DU are qualified to participate in the net metering program for renewable energy. These customers are referred to the enrolls as qualified end users or QE. So in the case that solar power system is being installed and doesn't apply for net metering, any excess energy that is being fed to the grid will be billed to the customer. So yung pag mga hindi nakaayos, so for example is when the solar array is rated at 5 kilowatts and the load consumption is only 4 kilowatts, the system will have an excess of 1 kilowatts which will be sent to the grid. This excess energy will pass through the meter, hence will be billed to the owner. So upang maging kwalipikado o qualified sa net metering program, kailangan nasa mabuti kalagayan ng inyong bayaran, ng inyong mga bayarin. So ang mga customer na ito ay tinatawag na qualified end users nga o QE. Kung mayroon kayong mga solar power system pero hindi kayo nakapag-apply sa net metering, ang anumang sobrang energy is na inyong binibigay sa grid ay babayaran nyo. So kahit may excess na may pasobrang energy is babayaran mo pa rin yung kuryente na yun dahil hindi kayo nakapag-apply or nakapag-enroll sa net metering. Kung ang inyong, for example, kung inyong solar array ay may kapasidad nga na 5 kilowatts pero ang inyong konsumo ay 4 kilowatts lamang, so mayroon kayong 1 kilowatts sobra na mapupunta sa grid at babayaran nyo ito. So babayaran pa rin kahit may excess. So mas mainam na mag-apply for net metering. Another question is there any other way besides net metering that a customer having a solar power system producing excess energy during the day and yet will not pay for it? The answer is yes. Ito ay sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng inverter with limiter o tinatawag ding zero export inverter. So imagine mo ang solar system ay may panels na lumilikha ng DC current na kino-convert ng inverter sa AC current para sa appliances na ng bahay. So ang ordinary inverter is kapag sobra ang kuryente, pinadadala ang sobra sa grid na sakop ng net metering. Pero ang inverter with limiter ay kakaiba. So mayroon siyang karagdagang matanaang current transformer or city light lamp na naka-install sa main electrical panel. Ang city lamp ay patuloy na binabantayan kung magkano ang kuryente na kinukonsumo ng bahay at kung mayroong kuryente bang lumalabas patungo sa grid. So halimbawa, kung gumagawa ang solar panel mo ng 3,000 watts pero 1.5 watts lang ang ginagamit sa bahay, so makikita ng city lamp yan agad-agad ng ayusin ng inverter with limiter. So ang output ng solar panels para eksaktong 1,500 watts lang ang ibigay, walang sobra, so walang mapupunta sa grid. So ang kuryente na galing sa solar ay puro sa sarili mong consumption lang gagamitin. So ano ang benepisyo nito? So una, hindi ka magbabayad sa sarili mong kuryente dahil walang excess na bumabalik sa grid. Wala kang babayaran sa grid na galing dapat sa solar mo at hindi ka rin malulugi kundi maganda ang buyback rate ng net metering. So pangalawa, na ma-maximize mo ang self-consumption So lahat ng kuryente na kayang ibigay ng solar mo ay ginagamit mo lang sa loob ng bahay. Na bababa ang kuryente na kailangan mong bilhin mula sa mismong anuman ang nagsusupply sa iyong distribution utilities. So, pangatlo, mas compliant ito sa ilang utility rules, lalo na kung ang net metering program ay may limitasyon o komplikadong proseso. Kaya nagbibigay ito ng kapayapaan ng isip na hindi ka makakaranas ng issue sa pagpadala ng kuryente sa grid nang walang aprobado. So, pang-apat, mas simple ang pag-install kumpara sa kumpletong net metering application na nangangailangan ng palit meter at mahahabang proseso. So, mahalaga itong solusyon lalo na sa Pilipinas kung saan presyo ng kuryente ay patuloy na tumataas. So, sa halip na umasa lang sa net metering, ang inverter with limiter ay nagbibigay ng mas direktang control sa kung paano gagamitin ng ating solar power. So now, dito tayo sa circuit connection ng grid tied. So, ang unang picture na nakikita nyo ay simple connection ng solar panel papuntang inverter. So, ang solar panel is merong terminal na positive, negative. So, pag in series, may mga connection na series and parallel. So, yung output na wire na positive and negative pupunta ngayon sa line side ng DC SPD na may polarity. So, kung saan positive wire ng solar panel is i-connect sa positive terminal ng DC SPD and then negative terminal sa negative output ng solar panel. Ngayon, naka-parallel dito yung DC SPD. Then yung output or load side ng DC breaker is papunta ngayon dito sa DC input ng inverter. So merong AC output ngayon. So merong itong line, neutral, and ground. So depende kapag kung ano ang supply ng distribution utility. Kung line to line, so pwede magkapalit. Pag line to neutral, hindi pwede magkapalit yung dalawang connection. So ngayon merong output na. So sa AC output, merong AC DC breaker na i-connect ngayon yung line sa line side ng AC circuit breaker na may polarity. So meron itong nakalagay din na line and neutral. So hindi na kailangan ng polarity sa AC circuit breaker. So may naka-parallel din dito na AC SPD. And then yung output ng or load side ng AC circuit breaker is papunta na ngayon sa panel board or sa mismong load ng bahay. So ngayon sa second picture o yung diagram na ito ay nagpapakita ng mahalagang AC wiring setup para sa isang solar panel system na konektado sa grid. So na disenyo para sa maximum na kaligtasan for safety. So mula sa solar inverter na ang actually is asul. So na siyang nagko-convert ng kuryente mula sa solar panel. So patungo sa usable na AC para sa bahay. So dumadaan ang power sa isang timer. So ang is TM616. So ang timer nito ay kasama ang connection nito na 2 limiter ay gumagampanan bilang isang control mechanism para pigilan ang sobrang solar energy na lumalabas at bumabalik sa grid. Kaya titiyak na ang kuryente ay pangunahing nagagamit sa loob ng inyong tahanan. So pagkatapos nito, ang sekreto ay dadaan sa sunod-sunod na surge protection device or SPD. So para protektahan ang buong system at appliances laban sa biglaang pagtaas ng voltage tulad ng pagkaroon ng kidlat. So kasama rin ang mga circuit breaker para sa overcurrent protection para nagsisilbing automatikong safety switch. So sa huli, ang proteksyong daloy ng kuryente ay kumukonekta sa main electrical panel ng inyong bahay at sa utility grid. So mahalaga rin ang tamang grounding sa lahat ng bahagi para sa pangkalatang kaligtasan. Sa connection, itong isa pang type ng connection from solar panel to inverter papunta sa mismong load or sa mismong bahay. So sa solar panel, mayroong lalabas na output wire na i-connect ngayon sa mismong DC SPD at DC circuit breaker. Yung DC SPD is naka-parallel connection or parallel connection sa mismong DC circuit breaker. So ngayon yung output ng DC circuit breaker is papunta na ngayon dito sa inverter. So merong DC input. And then sa output, ito na yung AC output ng inverter, or ito na yung AC current. So sa AC current, since old device to, old model ng inverter, so wala itong dito high-tech. So meron pang kailangan gamitan ng time dilation device and controller. So ngayon sa sa AC output, i-connect ngayon ito sa mismong input ng controller. And then sa output, dito na i-connect sa time dilation device. So ngayon naka-parallel connection to sa mismong AC SPD at sa AC circuit breaker. So ngayon sa output ng AC circuit breaker o RCBO is meron tong lines load side. So pupunta ngayon to sa solar panel. So yung connection ng solar panel na to is meron kasing dalawang type ng connection, line connections and load connections. So kapag load connection, ang connection ng inverter mo or ng solar panel mo papunta sa load is hahanap ka ng branch na mismong, kumbaga, may spare ka ng isang pwesto sa mismong panel board para meron kang paglagyan ng additional na circuit breaker. So dapat same rated lang to sa AC SPD na breaker mo, ay AC circuit breaker. So ngayon, pag line connection naman is konektado or doon na dadirect sa main, between main and meter. So doon, ganun yung connection ng line connections. So kapag load, hahanap ka ng branch sa panel board na kailangan may spare na paglalagyan ng separate circuit breaker. And then kapag line connection naman is between main breaker and meter. So next is itong nakikita nyo is type ng panel board. So may mga different branches yan na depende kung ano yung structure ng bahay nyo. Kung napakalaki niyan, so maraming mga connections sa mga wires. So for example, merong breaker for your aircon, inverter sa refrigerator, or doon sa mismong mga outlet or mga lighting mo sa sala or sa kitchen. So yan yung mga different na paglalagyan ng circuit breaker sa inyong panel. Tsaka meron siya pinaka main. So ang main na yun, pag in-off mo, dami na lahat ng mga branches na yun. So automatically mag-o-off or mawawalan na ng supply ng current. So kapag mga branches lang, like for example, patay mo yung breaker dito sa lightning dito sa ilaw, so yun lang mamamatay, yun lang mag-o-off. So gagana pa rin, may supply pa rin sa outlet or kung saan man sa mga kwarto may mga outlet doon ng ilaw. So hindi madadami yun dahil hindi yun yung pinaka main. So may mga naka-separate na circuit breaker, depends sa mga area. So here's another example kapag may internal kang kinabit or may internal connections pang gagawin. So kukonect lang yun sa input ng inverter, gaya na nakikita nyo ngayon sa picture.
So sa pag-install ng solar power system, hindi basta-basta gumagamit ng wire. Meron tayong sinusunod na proper sizing ng wire na gagamitin sa solar power system. At meron ding computation kung anong size nito. So, sa mga example ng wires. Una na dyan yung thermoplastic wire or TW. Ito ay moisture resistant and flame retardant. Meaning, hindi ito basta-basta nababasa or napapasok ng tubig sa paglalagay nito, at ito rin ay di basta-basta nasusunog ng apoy. So, next naman natin yung THW or thermoplastic heat resistant wire. Ito rin ay moisture resistant and flame retardant. Meaning, ito, kaya niya rin tiisin yung init, hindi basta-basta napapasok ng tubig, at hindi madali masunog, at may mababang chance na mabasa. So, next is THW or thermoplastic heat resistant wire. So, yung thermoplastic heat resistant wire, yun yung isang uri ng wire na may thermoplastic insulation, kayang tiisin ang mataas na temperatura, kahit uminit ang paligid or mismong wire dahil sa current. So, hindi agad ito nasisira or natutunaw ang insulation nito. So, ito rin ay moisture resistant, meaning hindi ito madaling pasukin ng tubig or moisture, at flame retardant, ay hindi rin dito madaling magliyab kapag na-expose sa apoy. Next is the THHN or THWN2 wire. So yung THWN, similar din siya sa THHN, except ito ay water resistant. So by adding the W into the acronym, THWN is rated for up to 167 degrees Fahrenheit or 75 degrees Celsius in wet environments. But its successor, THW2, is rated for 90 degrees Celsius in both wet and dry environments. Historically, THHN and THWN were separate wires, but now you typically find their capabilities combined in the THHN and THWN2 design. So, meaning, pinagsama po siya ng water resistant and heat resistant wire na kayang tumagal sa 167 degrees Fahrenheit sa mga wet environments and 90 degrees Fahrenheit sa both wet and dry environments. Here's a breakdown to help some sense of lettering. The T stands for thermoplastic insulated cable. A single H means the wire is heat resistant. HH means that the wire is heat resistant and can withstand a higher temperature and means nylon coated. The added W signifies that wire is also resistant to water. So para mas madali maintindihan kung ano ibig sabihin ng sa mga letra ng THHN at THWN, so ito ang simple breakdown. Yung T, thermoplastic insulation, ibig sabihin ang wire ay plastic coating na kahit silang init at patibay. Yung H, heat resistance, kayang tiisin yung mataas sa temperatura, around 75 degrees Celsius. HH, yun yung high heat resistance, meaning mas mataas pa ang temperatura tolerance, usually up to 90 degrees Celsius. Yung N naman po, yun yung nylon coating, yun yung pinaprotektahan yung wire mula sa gas, abrasion, at chemical na dagdag ng tibay. Yung W po, yun yung water resistance, ibig sabihin, safe gamitin sa basang lugar or damp sa wires kung saan ito yung madalas or ginagamit sa mga solar powered system. So PV wires. So this type is an exclusive kind of wire created for PV applications. These cables behave extremely well in very hot temperatures and other harsh environmental conditions. Its special characteristics compared to other wire is its insulation and outer shell, which is made up of XLPE or EPR. XLPE is acronym for cross-linked polyethylene. XLPE is a thermosetting polymer, meaning that the material polyethylene PE is cured under heat. In that process, forms bonds in all directions, forming a three-dimensional matrix. So EPR means ethylene polypropylene rubber. So ito yung parts niya, yung flexible thin copper, XLPE insulation, and XLPE outer sheet. So yung PV wire po yung special na cable na ginagamit sa mga solar power system. So dinisenyo ito para kayanin yung matinding init, harsh environment condition tulad ng init, UV rays, ulan, at alikabok. So ang kakaiba sa PV wires ay may insulation outer na sheet na gawa sa XLPE or EPR. So yung XLPE is ay yung cross-linked polyethylene. Yun ay isang uri ng thermosetting polymer, meaning kapag naluto or na-cure sa init, nagkakaroon ito ng 3D bond structure na nagpapalakas at nagpapainit. Resistant sa material. So matibay sa init, chemical at abrasion. So yung EPR, yung ethylene propylene rubber, yun isa rin yung heat and moisture resistant rubber insulation, flexible at matibay sa outdoor conditions. So sa madaling salita, yung PV wires ay gawa talaga para sa solar panel systems. May insulation na hindi basta natutunaw or sisira kahit tirik or may ulan. Mas matibay, mas matagal ang buhay kumpara sa mga ordinaryong wire, kaya perfect for outdoor solar installations. Dito sa may figure na to, dito yung nakabase yung AGW cables or wire size na pwedeng gamitin sa pagkakabit ng solar power or sa iba pang electrical installation. Merong 3 gauge, 6 gauge, 8 gauge, 10 gauge, and so on. So, andito rin kung nakabase kung ito ay solid or stranded wire. Is the NEC table 310.15 B16. So, dito po yung allowable ampasities of insulated conductors rated up to and including 2000 volts, 60 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit through 194 degrees Fahrenheit. Not more than 3 current carrying conductors in traceway cables or earth directly burned based on the ambient temperature or 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So, dito po nakabase yung size ng wire, AWG or KMC, types or TW or F. Dito rin nakabase yung temperature rating of conductors. So, another one for size ng wire and temperature rating of copper conductor. Dito po na makita natin yung AWG types of TW, UF for 60 degrees Celsius. For 75 degrees, meron naman RHW, THHW wire, THW wire, and THWN wire. So, XHHW wire, use USE, ZW, and for 90 degrees Celsius, meron types na TVS, SA, SIS, FEP, FEPB, MU, MI, RR, RHH, THHN, THHW, XHH, and XHHW wire. So, dito po nakabase yung current rating ng mga wire na pwedeng gamitin based sa temperature nito. So, another table for ambient temperature correction factors based on 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Table 310.15B2A. Ito yung for ambient temperature other than 30 degrees Celsius multiplied by the allowable ampacities specified in the ampacity tables by the appropriate correction factor shown below. So, dito po nakabase yung ambient temperature or degrees Celsius. Temperature rating ng conductors, meron 60 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Celsius, and 90 degrees Celsius. Ambient temperature. Table 310.15B3C. Yun yung for ambient temperature adjustment for raceways or cables exposed to sunlight or on or above rooftops. So, dito po nakabase yung cables. Kung ito ay exposed sa sunlights, nasa bubong. So, may distance dito na above roof to bottom of raceways, meron 13 mm or 1/2 inch above roof, 13 mm or 1/2 inch above 90 to 300 mm, 3 or 1/2 inch to 12 inch above 300 mm to 900 mm above, or 12 inch to 36 inch. So, dito rin po yung added temperature na pwedeng magamit. Table 310.15B3A. So, ito po yung adjustment factors for more than 3 current carrying conductors. Dito po nakabase yung number of conductors and percent of values na nakuha sa table 310.15B16 through table 310.15B19 as adjusted for ambient temperature if necessary. Ito po yung wire cross-sectional area or AWG cross-sectional area in cm. So, dito po nakabase yung size. Dito po sa table na ito nakabase yung size, cross-sectional area, weight, and overall diameter ng gagamitin na wire. Another table 240.60A, standard ampere ratings for fuses and inverse time circuit breakers. So, dito po nakabase yung standard ampere ratings ng fuse and or circuit breakers na pwedeng gamitin sa solar power system. Sa steps in PV system conductor sizing. So, dito na malalaman kung anong size ang pwede nating gamitin sa pag-install ng wire sa solar power system natin. So, first, look for the ISC rating of photovoltaic cell. Second step, multiply by 2 safety factors, the irradiance and continuous duty. So, third, dito po magagamit natin yung table sa mga nakaraang slides para masukat kung ano yung wire na gagamitin. So, repair on table dit 310.15 B16 for the size of wire. Next, repair on table 310.15 B2A for ampacity correction due to ambient temperature more than 30 degrees. Next is the repair on table 310.15 B3C for ambient temperature adjustment due to conduit or wire distance from the roof. For number 6, repair on table 310.15 B3A for adjustment due to more than 3 wires or inside a conduit. Number 7, find the adjustment due to voltage drop. And last, the value obtained in the last step will be the basis for the size of the wire used in the photovoltaic system. So, example tayo. So, here is the photovoltaic cell specs. So, makikita natin sa figure na to yung photovoltaic cell spec. Dito yung peak power or Pmax, open circuit voltage, VOC, max power voltage, and short circuit current ISC, and max power current imp and power selection. So, kukunin natin yung ISC ng solar specs na to at gagamitin natin sa example. Yun yung ISC or short circuit current na 9.15 ampere. Example for finding the proper size wire for a grid-tied PV system consisting of 3 JA solar panels connected in series with the specs at the previous slides. So, andito na tayo sa example. Gamitin natin yung IS specs ng previous slide na short circuit current or ISC. So, first step, look at the ISC rating. So, kunin nga natin yung short circuit current rating ng solar panel. So, step 2, i-multiply natin to sa 2 factors, irradiance and continuous duty na may parehas na 1.25. So, IPP nyo is equal to 9.75 amperes times 1.25 for irradiance and 1.25 for continuous duty. Meron tayong 15.23 ampere. So, next step, magre-repair naman tayo sa table 310.15 B16 for the size of wire. So, doon sa table na yon, meron tayong number 14, THHN, or with an ampacity of 25 ampere. So, since yung 14 AWG is not the best practice for photovoltaic system, so gagamitin natin yung 12 THHN na may ampacity na 30 ampere. For finding the proper wire size for a grid-tied photovoltaic system consisting of 3 JA solar panels connected in series with expect at the next slide. So, dito tayo sa step 4. So, for ampacity correlation due to ambient temperature. So, since yung Philippines, yung ambient temperature niya is around 37 degrees Celsius. So, in the table 310.15b 2a na nag-indicates na 30 times 0.29, meron tayong 27 ampere for new wire ampacity. So, next step, for step 5, ambient temperature adjustment due to roof wire distance. So, gagamit tayo ng 1/2 inch above the roof. So, yung 37 degrees, pa-plus tayo ng 22. Then, meron tayong 59 degrees Celsius for new ambient temperature. So, in the table 310.15 B2A, so, nag-indicates na 27 times 0.71 is equal to 19.17 ampere. Yun yung final wire ampacity natin. So, since 19.71 is greater than 15.23 ampere, magsaselect tayo ng number 12 wire. Yun yung pwedeng mag-fit sa system. For step 6, since there's only 2 wires inside the conduit, so yung step 6 ay hindi natin i-count. So, mapapas siya. For step 7, adjustment due to voltage drop. Voltage drop is less than 3%. So, gagamit tayong formula na VD is equal to 2IR. So, yung R is equal to K length over area. So, VD is equal to 2 times 9.3 times 12.9 times 25 over 6,530 ay equal sa 0.92 volts. So, percentage, voltage drop is equal to 0.92 over 32.26 times 100%. So, may total voltage drop tayo na 2.85%. Since yung 2.85% is less than 3% our selected, so gagamit tayo ng number 12 wire sa system. But since 2.85 is bit near to 3, it would be better to use a number 10 THHN wire for additional safety factor and for future expansion. So, dahil yung 2.85 ay medyo malapit sa number 3, so, di natin pwedeng gamitin yung number 12 THHN wire. So, mas better kung gagamit tayo ng number 10 THH wire para mas madali, mas safety, and magagamit for kung magdadagdag pa tayo ng solar panel. Here's another computation. So, in the previous problem, so in the case of voltage drop, so nag-exceed to na ng 3%, so let's say 5%, the additional computation is as follows. Since the initial selected wire is 12 THHN, make a one step higher adjustment. Select a initially number 10 THHN wire. So, BD is equal to 2.93, 2 times 9.3 times 12.9 times 25 over 10 over 10,380 equal sa 0.058 volts. So, total voltage drop percentage natin yung 0.058 over 32.26 times 100%. So, yung total voltage drop natin ay 0.18%. So, select natin so, gagamit tayo ng number 10 THHN wire para sa final wire na gagamitin natin sa system. So, take note, K is equal to the direct current. So, this is a constant representing the direct current resistance for 1,000 circular mills conductor that's 100 feet long at an operating temperature of 75 degrees Celsius. The direct current constant value should use for copper is 12.9 and 21.2 ohms for aluminum conductors. The K is constant is suitable for alternating current circuits where conductors do not exceed number 1 over 0. Dito sa table na to, makikita natin nakabase yung 2% voltage drop chart. Meron tayong AWG size of wire, capacity amperes, RA amperes,
The following slides show the computation for inverter sizing, circuit breaker sizing, and surge protection device sizing, as well as the solar panels orientation and the zero bill computation. These topics will be explored in greater detail during the upcoming section on solar panel installation, where we will delve into their practical applications, relevance, and role in ensuring a successful and efficient installation. In pursuit of a more sustainable and energy-efficient lifestyle, we are preparing to install a solar power system at a residence in San Isidro, Zaragoza, Nueva Ecija. This region in Central Luzon is well suited for solar energy generation due to its high solar irradiance throughout the year, making it an ideal location for a rooftop solar installation. Para sa proyektong ito, napili namin ng German brand na AE MD144 from Aurora series. While AE Solar is headquartered in Germany, the AE MD144 panels are available globally. In the Philippines, these panels are available through LV Topson Company, a local distributor, making them easily accessible for local installations. Mataas ang performance at efficiency ng panel na ito. May rated power output na 550 watts at efficiency na umaabot hanggang 21.31%. Gumagamit ito ng 144 monocrystalline half-cut PERC cells na mas efficient lalo na sa mga partial shielding scenarios. Ang sukat ng bawat panel ay 2,278 mm in length, 1,133 mm na width at 30 mm na kapal at may bigat ng humigit kumulang 26.5 kg. Ikakabit ang mga panels na ito in series connection at since mayroong 200 square meter na area ang roof, more than enough na ang space para sa proper layout at orientation ng panels.
So, para malaman kung gaano karaming panels ang kinakailangan namin, so sinimulan namin sa pag-assess ng average monthly electricity consumption namin. So, nasa 800 kWh per month. So, hinati namin ito sa 30 days. Kaya ang estimated daily usage namin ay umabot ng 26.67 kWh per day. So, sa Philippines, ang average peak sun hours ay 5 hours kada araw. So, kaya para malaman ang kinakailangan solar capacity, so yung 26.67 kWh per day, dinivide namin sa 5 hours per day. So, ang nakuha namin is 5.33 kilowatts. So, dahil hindi naman perfect ang real world condition, so may mga dirt, may mga shading at system losses. So, nagdagdag kami ng 10% buffer para sigurado. So, kaya ang adjusted requirements ay naging, so yung 5.33 watts, tinimes namin sa 0.1. So, yung nakuha nating buffer na i-add is 533 watts. So, bali add natin yung nakuha nating buffer na 533 watts sa 5.33 kilowatts. So, ang naging resulta is 5.863 kilowatts. So, next, gamitin natin ang 550 watts na output ng AE MD144 panel. So, hatiin natin ang total requirements. So, ang 5,863 watts, i-divide natin sa 550 watts per panel. So, nakuha naming panel is 10.66 panels or average na 11 panels. So, sa pamamagitan ng installment na ito, so inaasahan namin na ma-offset ang buong electricity usage namin. So, at ma-achieve ang goal namin na zero electricity bill. So, bukod sa financial savings, malaking bagay din ito sa pagbawas ng aming carbon footprint at pag-contribute sa mas malinis na kapaligiran.
So ngayon, nandito ngayon tayo sa bubong kung saan ilalagay ang solar panel. So to connect the solar panel in series, we need to connect the positive terminal of one panel to negative terminal of the next panel using the MC4 connector. So dito ngayon, padadaanin ang positive and negative wire. Hanap ito.
Ngayon, gagamit kami ng 6 AWD wire na dito lulusot galing sa solar panel.
Dahil dito namin inalagay ang inverter. Ngayon, i-connect ang positive output ng panel sa positive terminal at negative output sa negative terminal sa line side ng DC circuit breaker. At ang DC SPD is parallel in DC circuit breaker. And yung other side ng DC SPD should connect in grounding system. Ang purpose ng DC circuit breaker ay para ma-protect ang system sa overcurrent, while DC SPD is to protect against overvoltage. So these surges can be caused by lightning strikes. And yung output ng terminal ng DC circuit breaker ay ko-connect sa DC input ng inverter. Yung polarity nito dapat ay hindi mapagbaliktad. So kailangan positive to positive and negative to negative connections. Ang gagamitin naming DC circuit breaker ay 40 ampere based on computation na nakikita nyo sa screen. Sa pagpili naman ng inverter, may ilang kinoconsider since ang utility grid dito sa San Isidro, Zaragoza, Nueva Ecija is line to neutral. So kinakailangan ng AC output ng inverter should line to neutral. At ang rating ng inverter na gagamitin namin is 7 kilowatts since ang power output ng 11 panels is 5.863 kilowatts per day. So ngayon, ang AC output ng inverter ay mayroong line, neutral, and ground. Dito ilalagay ang inverter sa may terrace dahil may sapat na hangin at may protection sa sunlight. Pagkalabas sa line, neutral at ground, ang line side ng AC circuit breaker ay connected sa line output ng inverter. Ng AC SPD ay parallel between AC circuit breaker and inverter. Ang gagamitin namin AC circuit breaker at AC SPD ay 40 ampere at 230 volts to 275 volts based on computation na nakikita nyo sa screen. Then, yung output sa load side terminals ng AC circuit breaker ay papunta na sa panel board.
So, dito naman tayo sa connections after sa AC circuit breaker. No? Pupunta ngayon yan sa panel board. No? Then, sa connections from panel board is meron tayong dalawang kind ng connection. Ang line side at ang load side. No? Kung tayo ay sa load side ng panel board, maglalagay ng connection mula AC circuit breaker. From the load side doon, yung output is ko-connect siya dito and maglalagay tayo dito ng separate circuit breaker from sa ating panel board. Then yung ratings ng separate circuit breaker na yun sa panel board ay kailangan na same rating doon sa AC circuit breaker na meron yung ating solar panel setup. No? So, ganon yung magiging connection nito sa ating panel board. And then, para naman sa isang connections, kung saan tinatawag na line side connection, no? So, dito naman yon kukonekta sa main circuit breaker ng panel board. Then, i-explain ko mamaya yan doon sa labas. No? So, gusto naman po natin na i-connect wire na kung saan nanggagaling sa AC circuit breaker, no? Sa load side po nito, yung output po nun ay i-connect natin patungo dun sa panel board natin. Kung gusto po natin na line connection is i-connect po natin siya in between from the panel board dun sa main circuit breaker, then sa contador, and then yung connection na wire mula AC circuit breaker papunta sa contador is in between. So, itatap po natin siya nakatap ko siya between ng main circuit breaker na panel board depth sa contador. And then, papansin po natin yan sa poste. No? Dito po makita natin dyan, ito po yung ground connection na patungo sa grounding electrode na nakabaon sa lupa. So, dyan po yung napupunta lahat ng grounding connections.
Narito ang summary ng aming project para i-share sa inyo kung paano namin ma-achieve ang zero electric wave sa bahay na ito. Ang goal talaga namin ay ang sustainable living at naka-align din sa net metering standards. So, ilan ang solar panels na ginamit namin. So, mag-install kami ng 11 solar panels, each rated at 550 watts na naka-series connection. So, ang total system namin ay 6,050 watts. Sakto para makover ang daily energy consumption ng bahay na ito. Para masulit ang sikat ng araw, plano namin ito i-install facing south and west. Nag-compute kami ng wire size based sa current and voltage drop at haba ng cable. So, ito ay 6 AWG wire. So, syempre, para safe at efficient ang system. So, ang system voltage namin ay nasa 150 volts to 450 volts DC. Pasok sa MPPT voltage range ng inverter. So, gagamit kami ng 7 kW inverter compatible sa DC input at AC output. So, sa connection, solar panel to main panels, ganito ang flow ng connection base sa plano. From solar panels, pupunta sa DC line, DC SPD na nakaparallel sa DC breaker. So, ang DC input ay punta sa inverter, 7 kW. So, sa AC output ng inverter ay line connections, AC breaker, AC SPD parallel sa AC breaker. So, sa load output, papunta sa linya between meter at main panel. Medyo technical pero in short, safe, organized at compliant at standard ang pagkakabit. Lahat ng gagamitin naming components ay may proper grounding, surge protection at sumusunod sa standard requirements para sa residential solar systems. So, thank you for watching. Sana nakatulong tong summary kung paano namin ma-achieve ang zero bill solar solution. Kung balak nyo rin mag-solar, do your research and always consult a licensed professional para safe at tama ang installation.